I'm just here to post these receipts. So you see this is tonight. It's 10:53 right now, by the way. So I just read these 2 pages to my son. We reading Indian Givers. And this was the reading section for tonight. It's so crazy because everything that I read him tonight is pretty much everything that I talked about on my live earlier today. So the first thing, and then ironically, my son is learning about Christopher Columbus at school. And I told him that Christopher Columbus is his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. No cap. No cap at all. But I just, I'm like, it's so ironic how the subconscious mind, works for real. So everything that, I'm not about to go back and read all this, but it's talking about the silver mines and industrialization. And Charlotte had the first mint in North America that we know about. You feel me? It's probably the oldest mint in North America in Charlotte. But here it's talking about, this is Indian Givers, and this is a really good read. This is by Jack Weatherford. And if you read this, it talks about Solomon. It says that, let me get the actual book. This is a really good book that gives our real history, accurate history. You feel me? And that's why I'm reading it to my son now, because it's in his subconscious mind. Really, I'm reading them, both of my children. But when you read to your kid, I read them advanced literature because it's like music to them. You feel me? My dad told me, my son told me that I'm his first teacher, and if they're going to be teaching him about Christopher Columbus, that means we have to do our part too, right? So I'm like, boom, checkmate. Christopher Columbus is your grandfather. He was an Irishman, you feel me, who had a barbershop in Louisville. That's no cap. All right, I'm back. So this is page 52 and 50, 51 and 52. 52 and 53, my fault. Okay, so it talks about Solomon. I brought up Solomon in my live today. I recited from Book of Rhymes in my live, and those are if you go up, let me see here, Solomon, let me see, right here. So all my lives, they're up on YouTube. This is from today. So those are the receipts. You feel me? So subscribe to the Daryl Q. Slade YouTube page, YouTube channel, my English channel, right? And so this is it's so hard to see that. So hard to see that, and I want you to be able to see it. You can see this a little bit better, but it's best for you just to get the book. But I'm just posting the receipts. These are receipts for me too. These discovered, it's so crazy how it's like when you say, like if you say like I'm gonna count all the GMCs, well maybe that's like cliche and they won't appear if you like seek out to count it. But if you, let's just say you buy, okay, I got a good example. When I first heard of a Prius, I started seeing them everywhere. Like I heard somebody talking about a Prius, and then now I see them all over the place. You know what I mean? So it's some type of formula that has to be studied there because this happens all the time. Like literally, I was literally reviewing my son's work. I would get it, but I don't feel like getting up right now. He made a book that was talking about Christopher Columbus. And I'm like, instead of me getting mad and like, dang, they teaching him about Christopher Columbus, and because he's learning way much more about, he's learning about the tribes. He actually learned about one of his tribes, which is the Lakota tribe. And I actually talked with his teacher, with her being a Jeffries. I was telling her that she may be tied to the Okanichi. And if you go back on that last live, I talk about the families of the Okanichi and Jeffries being one of that. These are just facts. And then he told me about his librarian. He said that the librarian, Miss Stevens, she went over facts. She was teaching him about. They were going over facts today. So that's a fact. You know what I mean? So I'm like, instead of me getting mad, I'm like, literally, I did not know we was about to read about Christopher Columbus. Like when we read this tonight, I didn't know that. You feel what I'm saying? It just, boom, there it go. You feel me? And then also we watched that Nas interview earlier on my live where it was talking about his mama, his great-great-grandmother being on the plantation. And this is I think that this is probably one of the most important segments in this book, Indian Givers, because it compares, and then also with the silver, I did the silver surety drop and brought that up in the Constitution today as well, and I did a challenge for everybody to purchase 21 silver coins by the year end, right? You want to do that for you. You want to do it for your children, whoever you can do it for. Like once you do it for yourself, then go and do it for, if you have children, do it for your children. If you want to do it for your significant other, do it for your significant other. But secure 21 coins per person. You feel me? But if you do it for your children, they will greatly thank you in the future. Like they will thank you so much in the future. If you securitize 21 coins for them and bond it for them, they would so thank you in the future. Because, I seen today that they're predicting silver to go to 300 by the end of the year. But this book is telling you about how all the silver, like that's in rotation now, where it came from, Bolivia, right? And we also have silver mines in the Carolinas too. You feel me? So here is very interesting. In that first paragraph there on page 52, it talks about Barber, a book published in 1640 called The Art of Metal. In 1640, bro. Like that's like, you'll read stuff and be like, you know what I mean? But when you read, you have to really break down what you're reading. This joint saying 1640. So like we were reading about 1670 today. So this is 30 years before we went back to 1612 today. You feel what I'm saying? With the Virginia Charter, with it being revoked. So this is 1640. A lot was going on in the 1600s. A lot was going on. People had intellect, you know what I mean? Like, just imagine if it was a handsome brother like me in 1640 kicking this knowledge. Like, you know what I mean? Writing these, like, the art of metals, bro. You feel me? 1640. And I was thinking about it, like, so for my authors, like, bro, our book's still gonna be selling 400 years from now, because in 400 years, somebody's gonna be like, I wonder if there was any books out in the 2000s. You feel what I'm saying? In the year 2000s. And then they gonna look it up, and then they gonna see, you know what I mean? It's gonna be categorized by, you know, the 2000s, like, this the 21st century. You feel me? So this is books, like, if you can look it up now, like, if we go back 400 years, you feel me? What books was published in the 1600s? You know? And they're going to be like, The Art of Metals, summarizing this new knowledge. It says, so much, the book was about the new information about mining. It says, so much new information about mining developed in these years. In 1640, Barber published that it summarized this new knowledge, and thereby building the foundation for modern metallurgy that became increasingly important with the development of industrialization. It says that from extracting ore and pulverizing it onto minting coins and transporting them, the traditional old world technology that has sufficed since the days of the ancient Phoenicians. The ancient Phoenicians' minds are the minds of Solomon, failed to meet the new situation. The Spanish learned little about metallurgy from the Indians, although in many regards the Indian technology was equal to, in some cases superior to, European techniques. And so it's just like all of that is in alignment of what, you know, I went over to my audience today, and then, you know, to read this to my son this evening. Crazy, man. It says the sugar cane was called Saccharum officinarium. Has problematic epistemic. Oh, also, it says the native crops of tobacco and cotton was imported. These plantations produce native crops such as cotton and tobacco, as well as imported crops as sugarcane, coffee, and rice. So, like, rice has to grow in marshlands. And so, like, I could take you to marshlands, like, literally 5 minutes from here, and you could see where these I could take you to rice plantations, right? But y'all would have to literally contribute to that, because you have to pay to go on a plantation, and I'm not really trying to go out my way to pay to go on a plantation, but to give y'all that information live and direct, I can go there and show you, like, okay, boom, this is how rice is developed. You know what I mean? And just looking at it from a non-emotional standpoint, and looking at it from a cosmic standpoint, because it says right here that the paripara, the peterofala, safeterofala, right here, coterifolo, Toilo, Tole Filacola, Colano, Kitaporo Po, Poderoriro, Porefrero. It says that other Spaniards developed similar models of production on the plantations throughout the Caribbean and the northeastern shore of Brazil. These plantations produced native crops such as cotton and tobacco and imported, right here, sugarcane, coffee, and rice from other tropic and semi-tropic zones of the world. Of these, the sugarcane was one of the first, having been introduced to the island of Hispaniola by Christopher Columbus himself. It quickly became widely cultivated and most lucrative plantation crops. Now, we know that Christopher Columbus had a lot of people behind him. That was like a brand name, like, you feel me? But my son also learned about the Santa Maria, which was his ship, the ship that he had sailed on, but that's Big Mama. The Santa Maria is Big Mama. You feel me? And that make a lot of sense. You feel me? So right here, this is the bar of this book. Each plantation, it says right here, the plantation, I remember when I first started, first I was listening to this book. Before I got the actual physical copies, I was listening to it, and they took it down off of YouTube, but I was listening to it in 2020, and it said that this right here stuck out to me. It blew my mind. It said the plantation functioned more like today what we think of as a factory than like a traditional European farm or manor. And that's another thing that I had said. So you see how the subconscious mind works, and that's why I like, reading these type books to my children, is because their intellect, they're developing their intellect. And I just I highly recommend that. But earlier on my live today, these are timestamps, literally timestamps. On my live earlier, I was like, the plantation, I was like, was really the chief's like manor, or I said barony, but manor and barony is essentially the same thing. So that's like your landlord, you know what I mean, styled as your chief, or your chief styled as the landlord, you know what I mean? So this is what that's saying. So instead of working for a slave master, you working for your chief, and it's out of honor, you know what I mean? And because your chief's saying that you doing this work unto the Almighty, not unto me, you feel what I'm saying? And then you pay a portion of the crop to your chief. And then, the chief is the Lord of Lords, so he pay his portion of the pence to, the superior chiefs. And like a chief, like you have women who are chief executive officers, so women could be chiefs too. You follow what I'm getting at? Women can be chiefs too. So the biggest bar in this book right here, it says the plantation function more like a Amazon factory. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how when these warehouses, like, it's always somebody that, like, they may drive the forklift, you feel me? But they the big chief, you feel what I'm saying, on the block. That's really they shit. Riata data, without a doubt. You know what I mean? So we talking about GE. So, that's what this is saying. This is what that's saying. The sugar cane, it says the plantation function more today what we think is the traditional Europe, such a thing of, it says what we think of as a factory, like the traditional European farm or manor, right? So that's how we governed our land. And then I can take you to this museum that told us that this culture comes from us, right? So the plantation culture and things like that, the foundation, what we call in slavery, we probably didn't call it that. We spoke a different language. You feel me? But it was honorable. And again, it say that at the museum, it says that the Europeans borrowed the system of slavery from us. You feel me? So it just got corrupt. It's the abuse. It's called an abuse of power. You call that an abuse of power. So this is talking about how the sugar cane was made. It says this made the sugar culture even for the field workers continuous for the field. So shout out to everybody that's out in the field, bro. Shout out to everybody that's out in the field that got continuous work. You know what I mean? So like we technically slaves now because we not getting paid in gold and silver. And according to the Constitution and the rule of law, the payments for debt. So if you do a service for somebody and they owe you bread, then you don't think that that's a debt? You feel me? So right there it say that the debt, payment of debt is what? Gold and silver. You know what I mean? So going back to the artifact, you feel me? Going back here, it says that sugar plantations had, so it's talking about the distribution. Shipping the cane processors into a nearby urban area, let alone shipping the cane for processing to a nearby urban area, let alone all the way to Europe, was done with the cotton, where it destroyed the product. Each plantation needed its own sugar mill to grind the cane and to boil the residue down to the crystalline brown sugar. So was the plantation function, sugar cycles. So Stanley. Alright, it says this highly skilled part of the work required about 10% of the total workers of the plantation. So molding it, crushing it, going to the stages of reduction, the crystallization process, right? I'm on my J. Will shit about to break the blender. In other words, it says sugar plantations had often attached to them not only the sugar mill but the distillery for fermenting rum from the cane syrup. Thus, the plantation functioned as factories of alcohol as well as sugar syrup and molasses. All right, so this is ancient, bro. It say it's ancient. Old world technology. You feel me? That has sufficed since the days of the ancient Phoenician. You know what I mean? That's crazy, bro. Man, shout out to Jack Weatherford, And the thing is, man, a lot of these Europeans like Jack Weatherford and the author of that the book Tecumseh and the Prophet, over here somewhere, all of them, you know what I'm saying, the book for this Ani Anwia book, which that was written by us for us. You feel me? But man, where is it? Where is that joint at? Where Tacoma saying the prophet at? I got so many books, bro, and I don't have my glasses. I ain't got my glasses on, bro, so I can't really see. But yeah, those books are heavy hitters, bro, and it's Europeans that's writing this shit, that's telling our history, and that's why I'm like, now the Fountain of Youth has to be the ones who tell our history now. You know what I mean? We got to be the ones that's writing. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this work, because it's a database. You feel me? So I just thought that was crazy. I'm like, bro, everything that I talked about today was literally summarized in these 2 pages. And that's how I know I'm on cue. And then the thing is, like, my last time reading in there was a day before my birthday, and today a day before my brother's birthday. You feel me? My brother finna be 51. You know what I mean? You feel me? Man, so for my brother's birthday, man, y'all go get his book, bro. Go get 1975 for my brother's birthday. Get it from NoMoreSuitsLLC.com. So you can use the promo code. You can use his little brother, Daryl Q. Slade, as the promo code. And then we shipping them shit directly. It's coming from, they going to Louisville because they're going to have a Louisville Slugger stamp. And my brother going to sign them for you. And then we're going to send them out. You feel me? So they coming from Louisville to you. 1975, they're going to be authenticated, Slim. So get that from my big bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's the epitome of, like, again, we talked about the oral traditions earlier. Shout out to Chief Pontiac. You feel me? So my brother come from the oral tradition era. So all of the history is in his head. So, you know, we got it into book format. So that's the written tradition. So that's like Sequoia, who came up with the alphabet. Matter of fact, I got it right here, bro. I'm just sitting around gems, dog. I'm sitting around. I'm on gems, bro. It's right here. You can't really see. Oh shit. So this is where that Cherokee alphabet at. It's in this book right here. This is signed by the author. You feel me? Douglas Wrights, 1940 Salem. Let me see if I can find that Cherokee alphabet. And oh shit. Hope y'all can hear me. I'm gonna be mad if y'all can't hear me, bro. I'm gonna be mad as fuck. I'm gonna be mad. It is what it is, though. Proof is in the pudding. So that's the Cherokee alphabet. Photographed by courtesy of the Bureau of American Ethnology. So I'm about to end this so I can see if we can hear me.